The conclaves, the meetings, and as to how impressive, how important, and how powerful ICC leading entrepreneurs. I was listening to that I wrote there and how they are working towards the women right. And I, speaking on behalf, recognize how ICC came as a state, right? I mean, up until now, tourism, to a very little extent on agriculture. They are trying and building businesses, meaningful business. The authority really enable their business. Right? I mean, in the room today, we have people who are setting up businesses in various functions. We have people trying to set up.
I truly feel honored to have you serve with us. I think you have always been very, very kind to us.
For Ministry of Science and Technology, Ministry of Earth, Department of Atomic Energy, and Department of State.
Council in J&K that shows the commitment ICC has towards the country, and also since you belong to Jammu and ICC has such a deep and long-standing relationship, chief guest for us. So with these words, sir, I request you to please address us.
Well, what has remained largely on this road is our ocean resources. We have about fisheries, so on and so on. The second is the space, which is just now made a part of the economic growth. And third is where we are right now sitting, the Himalayas. So I think that's very important that you have also, besides trying to make a statement as far as the tourism potential or worthiness most by government is concerned, it also sent out a message that look here now the chamber would also bring into focus these regions which were not possibly as much a part of the India's mainstream economic growth as they should have been. And from that point of view, I think this is one of the best times happening for India businesses, and more so with the young president being there. I think this is also one of the best times happening for the Indian youth, because we have more than 70%. So you can understand your 3-day retreat does not merely represent a holiday. It might have been very closely cherished by many of you. Also does not limit itself to making a statement like these words that you mentioned, but it's sending out a message far beyond that. The message of this region now being incorporated as a part of India's mainstream economic growth, and the chamber taking up this challenge, both opportunity and laying down a message of cue for the others. Because today, at least in this government, we have been able to create an ecosystem which is very wholesome. At the one end of the ecosystem, you have a facility, at least for the political distancing. On the other hand, you have liberalization from a number of constraints that might have held back the growth of businesses in the past. For example, as far as the government initiatives are concerned, the budget has been largely improved. The R&D budget today is more than double than what it was 10 years back. In each of the science and innovation related departments, we have more than 200% of high-degree budget in the last 10 years. So much so very recently, because we will be dealing also with the various institutes of innovation, we have also liberalized the financial powers from the director of the this year, only 2 weeks back, and I told them, okay, now don't celebrate the solemn pledge and hope that this will not be misused, misappropriated. But that is in order to enable them to engage more with the private players. And that is why in the last 10 years, we were just for 350 startups. Today we are reaching 1.7 lakh. And I think what is more important was sitting over here and sitting together is to realize that more than 60% of the startups come from tier 2 and tier 3 cities. So there are wrong notions of where that belongs only to Bangalore or Bombay and Delhi. It's not so. Apparently they are very romantic, but it's not. We started because the aspirational levels are much, much higher in a town like Srinagar than they are actually in Mumbai, because there the people and the youth also have this cognizance that they can make their livelihood from so many abundant sources available. I mean, they go to Bollywood, they don't become a hero, they become a comedian. If they don't become a comedian, they become one of the extras. They don't become an extra, they become a clamor. While they don't become a clamor, they become a canteen outside the studio. So the signal industry of cinema itself provides such a huge appeal that you don't have the aspiration to venture into something new or something experimental or something which is little challenging, which is happening in towns like this. And if not half, almost half of the 1.7 lakh are women-led startups. So again, that notion that we have to promote women is no longer in this case. It's only, I think, the male cycle that you want to be more patriarchal. So I think the change scenario which has happened only in the last 10 years. And this has been possible because now we are following global benchmarks. So we have, I think, very successfully succeeded in breaking the barriers of demarcation between the public and private sector. And the skepticism is no longer there. So I was, when we first announced the opening of this place, and then now this year also opening of the nuclear sector, I think this was hardly expected even by the stakeholders. But then I said, if we have to move on from where we are, we have to move on with an integrated fashion. We have to learn to like each other even if we don't have it, because there's no other option. And I said, we have to give up that skepticism, but we have seen over the last almost half a century after independence, the public sector will look at the trade sector or the private sector as a bunch of leases and black marketplaces. Whereas you guys will look at the public sector as a group of pride takers. So when I first time made this announcement, I said, okay, we board a bus. You don't have the choice to choose who's going to sit next to you. It could be a devil, it could be a rogue, it could be a Satan. But suddenly the bus breaks down. And the driver asks everybody, can please get on, only I'll be in the chair, and you try to push. And then everybody puts in mind, the devil as much as the saint, the private as well as the public. Because you are in a hurry to reach your destination. The goal is so if you have to actually reach the destination, whether you like or not each other, you have to learn to like. And I think that is the kind of energy that space economy has grown just from almost 6% to 8%, $8 billion. In the next 10 years, we hope to grow up by another 4-5 times, which will be about $40 to $45 billion. Biotechnology is another sector emerging because there is a considered view all over the world that the next economic revolution is going to be biotechnology. Just as the last one was IT in the 90s, and there's going to be a paradigm shift of business even from manufacturing to the regenerative processes to the genetic driven processes. And India has already taken a lead. We are the first to have come out with an institutionalized biotechnology policy for BioE3, and we are also the first to open up to the private sector a big way like we've done this place. And we have actually institutionalized the structure for the PP corporations. For example, in space, we have an interface for space, and in biotechnology, we have an interface like Bio. Why I'm saying so is that you are the gentlemen and gentle ladies sitting in this room who could actually make best use of this. It's already become very popular among the youngsters. And the idea is to determine the nature of collaboration, the scale of collaboration, the entities of the collaboration, both national, international, and even the FDI is fully allowed. And in fact, very recently we also engaged in an MOU with the space and the biotechnology because so much of integration is happening. Cross-sectional leaders which are co-founder on board by Shivanshu Shukla were actually done on the kits prepared by the Department of Biotechnology with some of the private players contributing to the materials for center. Ideally, these should have been done by one of the biotechnologists or somebody belonging to a biotechnology industry, but they could not go up this way, they have not been shaped for that. So I told Shivanshu, I said, you are going to do what a biotechnology is going to do. So when you come back, you not only be an astronaut and an Air Force officer, you will be a biotechnologist too. And he, of course, proved to be a very good learner. But next time, maybe, one day, one of you might have to go there to see what is happening so that how much business you can generate out of this coming back. So I think it has to be a wide-based thing, and this is now in Jammu and Kashmir, for example, we have created a model of private participation through what has become very commonly known all across the country is purple revolution, the lavender startups, the lavender entrepreneurship. It was initiated from a place close to the city, which of course all of you know, you might have noticed in the last few days.
सबसे पहले तो मुबारकबाद के हकदार है इंडियन चैम्बर ऑफ कॉमर्स। उन्होंने यहाँ 3 दिन का अपना यहाँ प्रोग्राम मुनक्कद किया। ये हिंदुस्तान के सबसे पुराने चैम्बर्स में से है। आज से ठीक 100 बरस पहले इसकी शुरुआत कलकत्ता में हुई थी, जब अंग्रेजों की राजधानी कलकत्ता हुआ करती। तो इसके पीछे एक तारीख भी है, लेगेसी भी है। और पहलगाम के हादसे के बाद फौरन यहाँ पर आना एक मैसेजिंग भी है, एक पैगाम भी है कि ये जगह अभी भी उसी तरह खूबसूरत है। आई थिंक इधर
पहलगाम के बाद कि जो यहाँ के लोकल्स हैं उन पे थोड़ा,
और इसके लिए साथ ही साथ ये भी पैगाम है कि अब चूंकि वजीर आजम मोदी जी के जब से उन्होंने इख्तिदार में आए हैं, तो बहुत सारे बिजनेस ट्रेड को लेकर के आयाम बदले गए हैं। मिसाल के तौर पर प्राइवेट सेक्टर को पूरी तरह से हौसला अफजाई भी मिल रही है और पब्लिक प्राइवेट पार्टिसिपेशन को बढ़ावा मिला है। और यहाँ तक कि इस साल तो हमने न्यूक्लियर सेक्टर को भी प्राइवेट सेक्टर के लिए खोल दिया, स्पेस को पहले ही खोला था, क्योंकि हमारा ये मानना है कि जिस तरह से हिंदुस्तान जिस तेज रफ्तार से आगे बढ़ रहा है, तो यहाँ से जैसे आगे हमारी जो इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ रहेगी चौथे दर्जे से तीसरे, दूसरे और पहले तक, वो तभी मुमकिन होगी जब सब इकट्ठा इंटेग्रेटेड अप्रोच रहे, जिसमें प्राइवेट और पब्लिक सेक्टर की बाकायदा बराबर की शमूलियत रहे। और उसलिए भी उसी नुक्ते नज़र से भी, और दूसरा वो सेक्टर जिनका पहले पूरी तरह से इस्तेमाल नहीं किया गया, न तराशे गए, उसमें हमारे हिमालय का ये सारा रीजन, हमारा समुद्र का तट जो लगभग 11,500 किलोमीटर है, हमारा स्पेस अंतरिक्ष, और उस नुक्ते नज़र से भी वादी कश्मीर जो कि हिमालय का ही एक तर्जुमानी करता है ये खित्ता, और यहाँ से ही पर्पल रेवोल्यूशन जिसे हिंदुस्तान भर में बैंगनी क्रांति के नाम से जाना जा रहा है, उसका आगाज हुआ था गुलमर्ग और भद्रवाह से। और लेवेंडर स्टार्टअप और लेवेंडर एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप एक नया अवसर, एक नया मौका उभर करके सामने आया। हजारों की तादाद में नौजवान वहाँ पर अपना आमदन भी कमा रहे हैं और एक अच्छा उनको तजारत का जरिया भी मौसूल हुआ है। किस तरह से चेंबर जैसे अदारे पब्लिक प्राइवेट पार्टिसिपेशन को मुमकिन बनाने में, फैसिलिटेट करने में अपना रोल अदा कर सकते हैं, और किस तरह से इस खित्ते को जो कि अक्सर सरकारी नौकरी की जहनियत में जकड़ा रहा, उसको वहाँ से निकाल करके हिंदुस्तान भर में जो नई स्टार्टअप मूवमेंट आई है, जो मोदी जी के आने के बाद नए को मौके आए हैं नौजवान, उसके साथ कैसे इस खित्ते को जोड़ा जा सकता है, उसका पैगाम भी इनकी यहाँ मौजूदगी से जाएगा।
टूरिज्म सेक्टर के जो स्टेक होल्डर्स हैं, जो पहलगाम अटैक हुआ उसके बाद उन पे बहुत असर पड़ा, तो कुछ लोगों का जो कहना है कि वो लॉसेस में सफर करे और जिन्होंने लोन्स लिए थे वो उसको रीपे नहीं कर।
मुझे यकीन है यहाँ की जो हुकूमत है जम्मू कश्मीर की, उसके ऊपर गौर भी कर रही है और करेगी भी, लेकिन साथ ही साथ कुल मिलाकर के जिस तरह का आवाम का रहा है रवैया, और जिस तरह के यहाँ पर चैम्बर जैसे अदारों की यहाँ मौजूदगी, ये अपने में एक सहूलत, उसी तरह के हालात मामूल करने की तरफ या उस तरफ जाने की तरफ एक इशारा है, कदम है।
देखिए, पहले तो मैं आप सबको ये बताऊं कि वेरी सक्सेसफुली इंडियन चैम्बर ऑफ कॉमर्स ने यहाँ पे अपने नेशनल एग्जीक्यूटिव कमेटी मीटिंग की, जिसको श्रीनगर रिट्रीट के नाम से, ICC's रिट्रीट इन श्रीनगर का नाम दिया, और नेशनल एग्जीक्यूटिव मेंबर जो हैं पूरे इंडिया के, वो यहाँ पर आए विद फैमिलीज़, और उन 3 दिन का ये प्रोग्राम रखा था। फर्स्ट डे ऑनरेबल LG श्री मनोज सिन्हा जी ने हमें एड्रेस किया, उनके साथ इंटरेक्शन थी, आगाज़ किया। सेकंड डे हुमा कुरैशी जी जो एक्ट्रेस हैं, उनके साथ एक फायर साइड चैट थी जो बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग थी, और उन्होंने अपना एक बुक लॉन्च किया। आज डॉक्टर जितेंद्र सिंह हमारे बीच में आए और उन्होंने सबसे इंटरेक्शन की, जितने भी हमारे मेंबर जो बाहर से आए, और उन्होंने भी यही कहा कि बहुत अच्छा है कि ये पहली नेशनल चैम्बर है जिसने ये इनिशिएटिव लिया कि यहाँ पर आकर पहलगाम अटैक के बाद यहाँ पर आकर टूरिज़्म को रिवाइव करने में एक स्टेप उन्होंने भी लिया। तो आज उमर साहब के साथ भी हमारी 4 बजे मुलाकात है, और वो भी थोड़ा सा बिजी थे, बट वो भी सबसे मिलने की कोशिश कर रहे थे, और आज 4 बजे उनके साथ मुलाकात है। तो ये एक रिट्रीट थी। इसमें देखिए बड़ी चीज़ें निकल के आई, बड़ी चीज़ों पे डेलिब्रेशन हुई, और ये जितने हमारे मेंबर्स हैं ये किस्म से इन्वेस्टर्स भी हैं। तो ये इन्वेस्टर्स भी हमारी नई स्कीम्स को देख के J&K को प्रमोट करने में बड़ा हेल्प करेंगे। मेरा नाम राहुल सहाय है और मैं इंडियन चैम्बर ऑफ कॉमर्स जम्मू चैप्टर का चेयरमैन हूँ। थैंक यू।